So looking at one of my own videos and I had a comment on there. Let's read it. I'm gonna have to pause this. So brief. Uh, I can't pull up my own comments. I'm gonna have to go to my studio thing. Let's pull that up. Weird how I couldn't pull up the comment. There's a comment on there from a previous collaborator. Not really a collaborator, but somebody I know from my other channel. Yeah, working investor. Cool to be recognized from my previous channel, but he asked me, "Stock Dog, is that you?" And I replied, "Yep, sure is." So basically, what happened in my previous channel, if you guys were aware of me before when I was called Stock Dog, is YouTube either uses an algorithm. I'm guessing they use some sort of algorithm to scan for channels they think are spammy or scammy or misleading, and basically what they accuse me of. And all my content was mainly focusing on shorts and breakdowns of ETS, just breaking down the different metrics, like their assets under management, their volume, stuff like that. And I was just taking the easy route and bringing up ETS based on what I was seeing on stock analysis. Now, instead of doing that, I like to put out a disclaimer whenever I can that this isn't financial advice. And I do that because the YouTube algorithms are attacking YouTubers. If you know anything about Victoria, I think the name of her channel is, she was a pretty big financial YouTuber, way more massive than me. I was really small, only had like 1,500 subscribers at the top, but she was monetized, a big channel, and they took her channel down, her previous YouTube channel down, based on the same reasons. And she even tried to address it and appeal it, and it didn't matter. They still took her channel down. So now if you look at her channel, she's always putting up the financial disclaimer that this isn't financial advice on every video she does now at the beginning of her video content. And people are complaining about seeing that disclaimer every time, but she has to do that. She lost a monetized channel because of YouTube's algorithms. I'm guessing it's algorithms. Even the appeal process, when you're appealing their decision, it probably goes through the algorithm, because they don't really look at the content, or they don't understand the content. I mean, I wasn't posting opinions at the time or anything else. Now I kind of am in a sense, but they're just opinions. They're not financial advice. So I put the disclaimer in my YouTube header description, but it's probably not going to make a difference, and I'm likely to get it taken down at some point again. But the reason why I do this content primarily, because I'm not going to get paid on it. I mean, I lost a much larger channel, and I still wouldn't monetize at the point that I got to 1,500 subs, because I wanted to get enough view hours anyway. So I want to monetize, but the thing is, I lost a lot of valuable content. I was doing all the research to find all these different exchange traded funds and these instruments that pay you in dividends, and looking at their different metrics and the value for each fund. And now I save a lot of content that I do. I do screenshots of some of my content, the more important stuff on it, like I just did the auto callable ETS I was just now talking about in this last video, and I'm saving that information because it's for my own deploy. And I put everything on a watch list anyway, so I'm not going to lose the content. But because I have dozens of things on my watch list, sometimes I forget exactly what a individual ETF does. So it's good to do the video content because you're researching the actual strategies that each exchange traded fund does, and you can see their degree of success by following their total returns. I mean, you can look at, for example, curve funds and look at their total returns relative to like similar single stock ETFs from YieldMax, and you see a big difference. A lot of people forget that within the title of the fund family itself, YieldMax, that's going to tell you what they were focused on to begin with, maxing out yield. But it was at the sake of NAV, so, Anyway, I kind of digress, but um, through my research, I'm able to discover which funds actually have a better strategy or they manage a strategy. They might have similar strategies like Curve with YieldMax, but they're more conservative and they manage their options better. So if you see these, so I look at total returns, I look at the fund family and how they're managing their strategies and how successful they've been, and then I couple that. Just talking my own way of investing, I couple that with charting. I've been getting into technical analysis heavy this last year and a half, 2 years. Basically, really beefed up this last year and paying attention to technicals and fundamentals too. They coincide and momentum. Everything coincides with the overall macro picture for when to trade something. So if you're doing a single stock ETF, a proxy for a stock, right? Like from a Curve fund or a YieldMax, I leave YieldMax basically alone except for maybe YMAX. But anyway, if you're doing that, you have to look at the underlying and you have to look at the chart. And I go out on longer time frames. I don't do hourlies. I don't do anything like that because I'm not a day trader. I'll look at the daily chart, which each candlestick represents a day of price action. And then I'll look at supports, previous confluence areas. And it's real easy to see that. All a chart is green and red candlesticks, which is buying and selling pressure. And you can see where areas of confluence occur on a chart. And that's how to look at it. It's people trading, institutional trading. And so you see volume spikes during these big areas of confluence, and that's previous resistance turned into now support if you broke above it. And that's how I trade. So I look for bigger areas of confluence on a chart, like for example Amazon, and see where there's probably going to be an area where they're going to be accumulating the stock, a previous area of confluence that was once a resistance that now becomes support. And that's when I take the proxies for that particular instrument. I might even trade, the primary stock at that point with options or even shares, but I'm an income focused individual. So I'm looking at the chart, then I say, okay, I could use the better performing proxy, which in my opinion is Curve funds, and I can start buying it. Like I trade in and out of the Amazon proxy, AMZP from Curve, and I made a few $100 in the course of just 2 months. And now I'm back into it as it's pulling back. As Amazon's dropping down, I'm starting to dip again. So on its last dip down in the 220 area for Amazon, I bought 100 shares. I wish I had loaded up, to be honest, because Amazon bounced and so did the Curve fund. So what I do now is I talk more on my channels. I'm not doing shorts at all. You're not going to see me doing shorts. You're just going to hear me talking about what I'm trading, how I'm trading, and stuff like that. My own opinion about something, and none of it's financial advice. Take it for what you want. Take it with a grain of salt. Most people aren't going to understand anything in that I talk about. They're not. And that's fine with me. This is for my own information. I'm perfectly fine with that. But if it helps somebody along the way, well, that's great. I once helped one person out of a class of 30 where I wasn't the instructor. I was just another student, but I was transferring from active duty to reserves, and I was attending a class. I was trading out MOSs in my career in the military when I went reserve status, and a student that was failing, came to me and asked for help, and I helped him. I helped 1 out of the 30 because that one came to me, and he benefited. His next test on his next phase exam was 100% because of that. And I never forgot that, how it made me feel that I helped this one person who wanted help. So that's all I care about. If I help one other person, or even just myself in the research I do to do these videos on this channel, then that's all I give a damn about. Who cares about ego? I'm not getting paid from YouTube. I'm getting paid from learning about the stock market. That's how I'm getting paid. And I've made mistakes along the ways for the last couple of years. I made some big mistakes. And so it's been a learning process. There are times I wanted to give up. There were times I was down 50% in the market. And there were times I was up massively, just as much. And I gave it all back because I was chasing the easy, quick thing. Buying options, trading options on a regular basis, not knowing anything about fundamentals, macros, or or trend, not following momentum and trend, not understanding technicals. All of it has its place, and you have to combine everything, and then you develop as you're in the market. You develop over time. You develop an intuition in the market. Anyway, I've talked about it, a lot of different things, but I'm just reintroduce myself. I'm the former stock dog. A lot of the other YouTubers knew of me. Some of the smaller channels like Working Investor knew of me, and it's nice to see that he's recognized me here. I appreciate that, and thank you, Working Investor, for the shout out. I appreciate you, or just asking if I was stock dog. And I am. That's who I was. And so this channel is different. YouTube warned me not to come back, and I'm like, I don't really give a damn. What are you going to do outside of remove my channel? I'm still going to post content whenever, wherever I can, except my premium channel, because I got heartfelt stuff, from the Philippines on that channel. And I'm not going to get that removed because I want to keep that content intact. So I don't try to do anything spammy. But don't be surprised if YouTube removes you, man, if you don't put up disclaimers on a content, because that's what they do. They can remove you for any kind of reason, posting violent content, or they perceive you to be spammy or scammy because they don't understand what you're doing. They'll remove the channel. Or maybe they're just trying to free up a room. The algorithm is actively attacking smaller channels to remove them because they're just taking up a space. They don't have a profit margin for them. And so everything about the market and about the world in general is about profit. And so coming from the small part of that equation, as a retail investor, it's good to understand that the world turns on economics. So that's what I've been trying to learn these last couple of years. I never was big into investing before because I was married and had families I was supporting. And when that all fell apart, I realized that nothing else seemed to have mattered but my finances, because that's where I got hurt the most. I lost all family connections in the past, and my finances went with it. So in these this last decade or so, or half decade that I've been investing, actively trading, I've learned a lot, and I've paid a tuition price for it. I've given up a lot of money too, but I've learned a lot. And so going forward, I'm far more conservative, and I study more now. And that's what this channel is about, guys. All right, take care. Thank you for subscribing.